All right, let's talk about Sadako Rising. Let's talk about the Onryo. David's hanging out over there to make sure that some stupid ads are blocked. Let's talk about it. I've had some considerable time now on the PTB to play around with this new chapter, and I just wanted to give my thoughts on, the killer, the perks. That's pretty much it. Some quick and dirty, short thoughts. Now, the killer herself. This is the wiki, and a lot of this stuff has been changed, by the way, as far as the stats. Like, we know now, based on the PTB, that 32 is going to be reduced to 24 or 28 or whatever it is. None of these changes make a huge difference. So, but the actual gist of her power, regardless of the tiny little stats, is basically that she kind of has a mini Pinhead mechanic. It's also kind of a mini Freddy mechanic. And she can kind of do a Freddy teleport. And so she's kind of a hybrid of several different killers. She also can condemn you, which is kind of similar to Pyramid Head's mechanic, where you could get that skid mark stuff on you and he can more you by the time you're on your third hook. So she's got a lot of stuff going on here. Having said all that, she's not very good. She doesn't, the big problem that people have with her is that she doesn't have any kind of anti-chase mechanics. She doesn't have anything at all to help her in a chase. The only thing that you could even argue that could come close to being something that can help her in a chase is her phasing in and out like Spirit does. So it's hard, sometimes it can be hard to see like where she really is, but it's still not enough. So she's not that good. She's pretty mid-tier, probably even lower tier, I think, than people say she is. She's fun to play against, kind of. I don't know. We'll get into that in the next video, but she's okay. She's very, I don't know. She's meh. I don't know what other thoughts to give. It's not even like Pinhead or Nemesis where I'm like, hey, you know what? Powers aside, it's dope having these characters in the game. I don't care that Sadako's in the game. Like, she's whatever. Like, cool, I guess. I mean, am I the only one who feels that way? Am I the only one who thinks she's very meh? Like, I don't hate it. I'm not sitting here banging my desk going, hey, man, where's Springtrap? Why'd you put this in the game? But at the same time, it's like, I just don't care. So then the other thing we got to look at are her perks. Now, this is interesting. She's got some interesting perks. The first one is Scourge Hook, Floods of Rage. We already know how Scourge Hooks work, but these Scourge Hooks make it so every time you get hooked on a Scourge Hook, the auras of all other survivors are revealed for 7 seconds. Why would you ever take this over barbecue and chili? I don't get it. Obviously, the reason is that barbecue and chili, they need to be outside of a certain range from where you hooked them. So this will allow you to see survivors that are right next to you. But, you know, the trade-off is barbecue works no matter what hook you put them on. This only works on 4 different hooks that are on the map. So, but I don't think that that's enough of a trade-off to justify taking this over barbecue, especially because barbecue gives you a butt ton of blood points. I will say that I saw that as far as like making a full Scourge Hook build, this was an important thing to have because now you can run a full Scourge Hook build that has like, you know, one of the perks is going to be a slowdown, which is pain resonance. One of the other Scourge Hooks is also a slowdown, which I believe is for like everything, right? Like healing and gens. And now they have something that's a tracking perk. So really, all they need now is a fourth Scourge Hook perk that gives them some sort of benefit in chase. And you got a pretty nice Scourge Hook build. So we'll see if that happens. So this was kind of a Scourge Hook perk, even if it's not as good as barbecue. It probably needs to exist if they ever want to give you the opportunity to run a full Scourge Hook build that's actually usable. So we'll see if they wind up making a Scourge Hook perk that helps the killer in chase. This one is interesting, which is Call of Brine. Call of Brine is one that I think isn't getting enough credit. It says, after damaging a generator, Call of Brine activates for 60 seconds. The generator regresses at 200% of the normal regression speed, and its aura is revealed to you. Each time a survivor completes a good skill check affected by Call of Brine, you receive a loud noise notification. So basically what it is it is a 60-second ruin that only applies to, whatever generator you kicked. Which I personally think is pretty damn good, especially on super mobile killers, which Sadako, the Onryo, is not. But something like this on Blight, I could see being really good. He runs at you, chases you off, slams into the gen, kicks it, 200% regression speed, and then chases after you. And assuming there wasn't multiple people on that gen, and the second person could just go hop right back on it, you're probably going to regress that thing to 0. So I think this perk has serious potential on very mobile killers. And I'm surprised nobody's talking about it. Yeah, there's nothing more to say. I think it's going to be really, really good on mobile killers. I think a lot of people probably aren't talking about it because, it was the PTB and everybody's trying the new killer. This perk is not that good on the new killer, so. But once it goes live, I bet you will see this in high rank play. And we got Merciless Storm. Whenever a generator is repaired to 90%, survivors repairing it are faced with continuous skill checks. If they miss one or stop repairing, the generator becomes blocked for 20 seconds. This one is not good. I thought it was probably okay when I first read it, and then I actually played against it, and I was like, this perk is not good. It's a noob stomper perk. If you don't know what a continuous skill check means, it's like I think it's the yellow glyph. You know what I'm talking about, where it goes around in a circle and little skill checks pop up and you got to go bang, 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 and hit them all in a row. I think that's how the yellow glyph worked. So it's the same thing as the yellow glyph. And you're not going to miss those skill checks if you put any amount of time in this game. So the only way it's really going to help is against people who are not very good at the game. Now, I've seen people say, well, what if you combine it with Tinkerer? Then that way you get a notification, you get over there, and then you can knock them off the gen. It's just, it's not good because it's like anti-synergy with so many things that you would run Tinkerer with. I broke it down. I'll try to remember how I broke it down to explain like why this perk is so anti-synergistic and not good. For one, if you're running Tinkerer activates at 70%. So let's say you're running a very mobile killer, which is what you're going to do if you're running Tinkerer. You're going to be running Blight, you're going to be running Nurse, you're going to be running Wraith. People who could get to the gen super fast. So it pops at 70. You go to the gen. Excuse me. You go to the gen. You're going to get there before it gets to 90. Unless there's multiple people on it, you're going to get there before it gets to 90. So you're not even going to get benefit out of it in that regard. So let's say you do get some kind of benefit out of it. And for whatever reason, it takes you long enough to get there that it does hit 90%. And they stop repairing and it blocks the gen for 20 seconds. That doesn't mean anything Because unless it was multiple people on the gen, 20 seconds doesn't mean anything because you're chasing that guy anyway. 20 seconds of being blocked doesn't mean anything to the person who just got chased off the gen because they're not going to be working on the gen anyway because they're being chased. So it doesn't mean anything. And if you're comboing all that with Tinkerer, it actually benefits the survivor. So if you're running Tinkerer, Ruin is what I'm talking about. If you run Ruin, it benefits the survivor. If you run Ruin, Tinkerer, and this, and you knock that guy off the gen and it blocks the gens don't regress while they're blocked. So that's 20 seconds of time where you should have had a 200% regression that you now don't have. That's good for the survivor. So I just think this perk is really bad in general. So that's the killer perks. Let's talk about the survivor perks. This one's so interesting to me because parental guidance, I've already talked about by the time this video comes out. And on the PTB, this has now been changed to be 7 seconds at tier 3. It's been nerfed. I don't get it. I don't get it. A lot of people keep talking about parental guidance, about how they think it's really good. I don't think it's any good. I just don't see how stunning the killer and not having scratch marks, pools of blood, grunts of pain for 7 seconds, 7 or 10, makes a difference. The only time I ever see it being useful is if you're comboing it with Decisive Strike, but if that's the case, there's other perks that are way better than parental guidance. I will say I could see it being like a meme perk, a meme build where you use parental guidance with smash hit. You just camp the pallet, let him hit you, slam the pallet on their face. They get stunned, you take off. And because of that super duper sprint burst you get off of that, maybe you could break line of sight enough that they'll never be able to find you. I could see that being a thing. I tried it on the PTB, didn't work. Nobody was falling for it. So I just don't see it being good. Now, empathic connection is the one that I'm most interested in. It's the one that I think is the best perk. Actually, before we talk about that, though, let's talk about Boondark Theory, because there's not much to talk about. There's not much to talk about with Boondark Theory. Here's how you know Boondark Theory is bad. Here's how you know it's an awful F-tier perk. It is so bad that the Dead by Daylight subreddit says it's bad. That's how you know it's bad. Because if a perk is D tier, the DBD subreddit will act like it's A tier because it's a killer-sided subreddit. You know this perk is bad when even they admit this perk is not good. If they had said this perk is okay, you know it's D tier. But it's so bad, they're admitting it's a bad perk. And that's how you know it's bad. It's a boon perk that gives you a 2% haste effect. 2%? 2%? That's nothing. That is nothing. That is terrible. 2%? Why would you ever take that? Like, if you're going to take a boon perk and, you know, which has its own restrictions where it's restricted to a 24-meter area, it takes 14 seconds to apply it and the killer could get rid of it. The benefit you get from that better be nuts. And it is from Circle of Healing, which is why Circle of Healing sees play. This, you would, like, okay, that's not true. I was going to say, you wouldn't see this perk be used if it wasn't a boon. You probably would. 2% haste all of the time would be pretty nuts. But 2% haste only in a small little area is just stupid. I will say this perk wouldn't even be good if it was like a 10% haste. Because at that point, the killer's presented with either you can't chase him or you need to go find the boon and kick it. And in that case, the obvious answer is go find the boon and kick it. and then continue the chase. And that's going to buy them, 10, 15 seconds of time in a chase, which is less than the time it would buy them if you just tried to chase them with a 10% haste effect. Or even if the haste effect was ridiculous, this perk still would be very good. So it's just at 2%, it's awful and not even worth talking about. And somehow I still managed to talk about it for 2 minutes. But Empathic Connection, I think, is the best perk in this chapter. And it's sneakily the best perk in this chapter because you wouldn't think it just by looking at it. So what does it do? It makes it so 96 meters from your location, other survivors can see you when they are injured. And then you can heal survivors 10% faster. That doesn't seem that good. It's a reverse empathy. Instead of you being able to see injured survivors can see you. It's the exact opposite. It doesn't seem that good because empathy's not really that good. So why is this better than empathy? Well, number one, much to my surprise, even in solo queue, survivors were actually running to me for heals. Every time they saw my aura, they actually ran over to me. Now that might change because on PTB you're playing with PC players, and not to knock console players, but in general, PC players play better than console players do. They just do. So, it's possible that once this goes on the live servers, my opinion will change because all of a sudden you'll be playing with a mixture of console players who don't come over to you. But on PC, on the PTB, PC players were running to me every time they were injured. So if you are somebody who likes to run a healing build, an altruistic build, this is the perk for you. Because the nice thing about it compared to empathy is, as somebody who has ran empathy many times, I can't tell you the number of times I have ran over to a survivor to heal them because I saw them with empathy, only for them to run away or not let me heal them because they don't want to be healed or because they're an idiot or whatever the reason might be. This perk is better than empathy for that reason, because now the survivor themselves can make that decision. If they are injured and want to stay injured for some reason, they won't come to you. And that leaves you free to do gens and do what you need to do. If the survivor wants to be healed, they'll come over to you. So you don't need to potentially waste your time. And then you also get the 10% faster heal on top of that, which empathy does not provide, which is great. So I was running this with a build, comboing it with botany knowledge and desperate measures, and I call it the human boon. People were running over to me like I was a circle of healing boon, and I was getting people healed up left and right. And I actually experienced a ridiculous amount of success with this on the PTB. So as far as a non-meta build goes, I think this has a lot of potential. Empathic Connection, healer build, probably the best healer build perk we've seen in a very, very long time. So that's something I'm personally excited about. It's a perk I'm actually going to run when it goes live. So I'm excited to play around with that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about all these perks. If you think they're any good, if you think I'm wrong about any of them. I can already tell there's probably going to be some conflicting comments on Dark Theory, because I don't know why boon perks just get people worked up. But let me know your thoughts on the new chapter and what you think about the perks and what you think about Sadako herself. And thanks for watching.